Okay, everyone, welcome to another video review. I'd like to start this one off by sort of talking about how you never get a second chance to make a first impression, is the old saying. Now, why would I lead off the video review of this piece by saying that? Because when I first saw this piece, my immediate impression was actually very positive, which is a little bit of a surprise. I was very close to canceling this one. Again, I'm not like a gigantic Spider-Man, Spider-Universe fan. I got the J. Scott Campbell versions, if you remember from way back, with Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane and Black Cat, and of course the two versions of Spidey, because I'm a big J. Scott Campbell fan, and I appreciate his artwork, and I love statues sort of based off of that artwork. These statues are based off the work of Mark Brooks, and I don't know as much about him, but they're very, how can I say it? They're kind of interesting in the sense that I got the two girls. I didn't get their Mark Brooks Spider-Man. I didn't really like the whole thing with the camera and the awkward pose. There's a lot of great Spider-Man statues out there, and I didn't like that version enough to buy it. But I got the two girls, which is Spider-Gwen and then this character Silk, because they come from sort of the alternate Spider-Man universes, and you don't get statues made of these characters very often. They're very niche. Not many people are willing to spend the amount of money to buy a statue of something like this, to the point where before Sideshow made these fifth scale Comiquettes, I guess, if you call them that, both characters were only available really as custom pieces. And I, of course, have the quarter scale custom Spider-Gwen in my collection. So that's the reason I bought it. But I was never really completely blown away with the Silk pose or the statue. I kind of got it just because, where else are you going to get a really good quality Silk statue made? And in any case, after Spider-Gwen came first, both were, by the way, delayed a couple months. And I was a little bit underwhelmed, if you recall, and you can obviously check my review of that. I was a little bit underwhelmed by the paint quality of Spider-Gwen's portrait. And, when you're talking about a statue, sure, the pose is important and the detailing on the body and all of that's great. But the portrait is really important. How pretty the sculpt is, how beautiful the sculpt is, the paint job on it. It kind of ties everything together. If you don't like the face, if you don't like the portrait, the whole statue basically begins to fail. And my first impression of the Spider-Gwen portrait, their production paint job, was very meh, very disappointed. So my first impression of Silk was very impressed. She has an amazingly beautiful production paint job of her head sculpt, and I'm going to put that in a little bit later. I'm starting off with her exclusive portrait. So apparently the masked version is the exclusive version, which I think is cool because the exclusive is a little bit more rare. I think this is one of only 500, and you don't want the exclusive to be sort of the preferred display. You want it to be sort of almost an Easter egg, something kind of nice to have, but not critical. And I think the masked version or the masked portrait counts as that, because when you see the unmasked one, you probably really want to display her unmasked. So this masked version is a nice bonus, but shouldn't be, again, critical. Let's just start with the base. This is the same base as the Spider-Gwen base. I don't like it very much. It's okay. The spider sort of effect is mediocre in my opinion. It's a decent base, nothing too special about it. Here again is the lamppost. This is mirroring the Spider-Gwen version. The Spider-Gwen version is on maybe a lamppost on the street corner in New York or something. There's signs, West 47th Street, for instance, here. I don't exactly know where this is supposed to be. There's no signs at all. There's this kind of weird, and by the way, this attaches via magnet, very nice strong magnet. I'll detach it. We're going to take a look at this. It's like this winged wolf. Don't really know what to think about it. It's nice. It's almost like a little gargoyle, I guess. There's 3 of them. They're all nicely magnetized, and they all fit very clearly. And you can see how strong that magnet is. Boom, it hits right there. And there's 3 of them all throughout. Silk herself is sitting on top of the light post. Here's her pose. Right arm thrust out with her stinger, and then the web basically uncoiling out of the stinger. That's the effect that we're trying to go for here. She has a very nice glossy effect, paint job. You can kind of see the light shimmering on it. It's a little bit tricky figuring out exactly where her butt is supposed to go, but just be careful, be methodical, gentle, and eventually she'll fit and slot right in. And when she slots in perfectly, her shoe will be right up against the actual light. You can see her fingers here all very delicately spread apart, and this one finger here right around the corner. So, these are areas where you can break if you try to force. So don't do that, be careful. But she sits here, very nice skin-tight bodysuit. Love the white sort of, spider pattern of it. This is her classic suit, and you can see the gloss of the entire suit. So overall, very well done. Nice paint job there, can't complain. There she is. I think her pose is okay. I definitely like Spider-Gwen's pose a little bit more. This was a little bit more casual. She sort of looked down, she's sitting there, and then she raises her arms, and then she basically, spins out the web, maybe about ready to move on. So this is a bit more casual than the action pose of Spider-Gwen. Again, it's nice, nothing spectacular. It makes displaying her a little awkward because this is sort of the optimum view of her, and you have to display her again kind of off balance a little bit to get this view of her face. When you go deep, a little bit closer, you can see that even with the eyes, the paint job looks a lot better than Spider-Gwen. It's just hard to describe it. I mean, there's just a lot more pop, a lot more detail, a lot more subtle shading, the eyebrows, the eyeliner, a little bit of, I don't know whether it's makeup or shading around the eyes, a little bit darker. Just looks better, like the sculpt. You can see the hint of the mouth and the nose. You can see sort of the wrinkles of the mask as it kind of goes around her neck. Painting these webs are really, really difficult. For a production paint job, this is acceptable. But these all have to be kind of hand done. A little sloppy, right over here, I can see that. But again, backing out, it's acceptable for a production level paint job. And again, these I believe are all ridges. So you have to actually paint those ridges. It's not a simple task. Yeah, I can feel the little ridges. Each of these ridges has to be hand painted. So that is quite the job that you're asking these guys in China to do. Okay, so much for that. Let's take the head off. So this is the exclusive head. I'm hoping I can do a good job with one hand and not mess this up. So we go straight up and check out this rather interesting thing. Below here, there's actually a metal peg right here. This metal peg, I'm going to put the head right over here. That metal peg is supposed to go into this little hole right here. Everything is magnetized. It's a very strong magnet. And so there's no need for the peg, which begs the question, why is it there in the first place? Because let's take a look at the regular head. Here she is right here. She's magnetized, and if you put her on, it's a strong magnet. It just slots right in perfectly. One of the first reviewers of the statue on YouTube, he mentioned that maybe the reason they're doing the metal peg is to keep the exclusive truly exclusive, meaning you can't buy separately on the market, let's just say, an exclusive masked head and then put this head on a regular body. Because why? The metal peg here is going to stop you from doing that. which, I don't know, I mean, how smart that is. You could, I guess, pretty easily Dremel this away, maybe, but you would then damage, of course, the actual, portrait. So it'd be a little bit interesting to see what the regular body is like for silk, because if that regular body does not have a hole, then that's why they put the metal on there, which is a little bit interesting. I think it's a lot of work to prevent that from happening. Don't know if it's really worth it, but whatever. So let's move on. I think now looking at her unmasked portrait, you guys will be very pleased. I think this is a beautiful paint job, very well done. And I think this is one of the rare situations where she looks better in person, in hand, than even her pictures. I don't know what it is, the way they shot her or the way they photographed the piece, but I never thought that the face was that nice for silk. But in person, I think you'll agree, she's beautiful. Very, very nicely sculpted face, very pretty, and painted very, very nicely. I know that googly eyes is always something that people are looking for, and rest assured, even though you may think she looks a little bit googly-eyed on the camera, in person, she looks fine. I don't think there's any problems with that. So this is a beautiful face. I mean, I would definitely display it unmasked for optimal effect. And again, just perfect. Very, very pleased with the paint job of the face. The paint job for the rest of the body is pretty basic, right? A lot of it is just kind of glossy, glossy black. The spider paint is a little bit average. So you have to do a really good job on the face. And definitely they did that. So before ending this video, let me remind you what Spider-Gwen looks like. So here in my hand is the Spider-Gwen paint. Is it because she's blonde versus a brunette? I don't know. But when you look at the two, I mean, I think it's pretty clear the difference in production and paint quality between the two. This one just seems very basic, very little shading, and again, it's maybe a little bit too glossy. I don't know what it is, but when I first, that's why again I led this video off by talking about impressions. When I first opened up this head, this portrait, my initial instinct was just impression was, wow, this is beautiful. My first impression of opening this one up is like, wow, what an average paint job. So disappointed. But you put them next to each other, and I think you can definitely tell the difference. You can definitely see the difference in terms of the quality of that paint job. So again, I'm gonna have this repainted to make it pop a little bit better. But at the end of the day, I don't know what it is with Sideshow or any of these companies. I think it's ironic that I was really looking forward to Spider-Gwen and was a bit disappointed with her, mainly because of that portrait. And I wasn't expecting much from Silk, and I was this close to actually canceling her because she was so delayed. But I was like, screw it, I already have Spider-Gwen, let's keep Silk. And not expecting much, she kind of blew me away. And even though the pose is, like I said, average, but that face and that paint job on the face sort of definitely is everything. It owns it all. Why is that? I mean, these are two statues from the same series. Did Sideshow get them done by the same factory? If the same factory, why is one so much poorer than the other? If different factories, why different factories? On an unrelated note, there's rampant problems with the Predator 1 Jungle Hunter maquette. Ridiculous issues with magnets not being strong enough, heads falling off, hands falling off. I'll knock on wood, I'm going to do a review of that, of course, in the future. I own that as well. But I have to check those magnets. It hasn't been a problem with me. Those magnets for me have been reasonable. Why? Why one factory uses magnets that are just so poor quality, and then of course we have a situation like her where the magnetized head is amazing. You can tell it's a rare earth magnet. You can tell it's beautiful, done very well. Why for Danger Girl Abby Chase, which I got a week or two ago, does her head not have a magnet? It's, to me, as a collector who invests all this time and money, it just seems absolutely stupid that little details like that are not covered and made better at the factory level with contracts and things like that. You know, like you need to get magnets there. They need to be good quality. The paint job has to be, you know, done well. I thought there's some guy whose job as Sideshow is to basically go through the production quality to make sure it's up to snuff. And how can you, again, look at this, you know, this picture and give it a thumbs up? That guy should be fired. This is ridiculous, you know. And then at the same time, you have, of course, this portrait, which is, you know, wonderful, and it's not even close. So, anyways, that was a little mini rant. I'll end on that. But overall, the two look very, very good together, and they'll make a very nice pairing. Just for the sake of that, I'm going to gently move this over here. So here we go. Put it next to her. I'm going to take this on over here. And again, Spider-Gwen does not have a magnet. It's just a peg. So there it goes. So leaning back, this is what the two of them look like paired together, which I think is pretty neat. You know, it's a good combination. Excellent pair. This is what I waited over a year for, so there you have it. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, and until next time, take care.